NFL training camp updates. Let's check in on the rookie quarterbacks. How are CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson performing so far throughout training camp? I want to start with Bryce Young because he was the #1 overall pick. And there were many people who were questioning if Bryce Young was going to be able to live up to the expectations that comes with being a #1 overall pick. And from what I've seen so far from him throughout training camp and what I've read, he's been as good as advertised. As a matter of fact, he's been the best performing rookie quarterback out of all of them that have come out of his draft class. I mean, when you look at Bryce Young and the clips that have surfaced about him, you see why he went #1 over CJ Stroud. His ability to process defenses is second to none. He's one of the best rookie quarterbacks that I've ever evaluated. And I had him with a higher grade than Trevor Lawrence. His ability to process defenses is similar to playing the AI quarterback on Madden. It's like as soon as he finds one guy open, the ball's coming out. Now, he has kind of struggled a little bit with taking care of the football. He's had 3 turnovers prior to today's past practice, which he did a lot better job of taking care of the football. But it's not like he's had a bad turnover bug. He was throwing interceptions left or right, nothing like that. Just a couple of balls over the past 3 days that kind of got away from him. He performed really good on the Monday practice that the Carolina Panthers had, but the prior 3 practices kind of had some balls that got away from him, but nothing to be worried about where he had 2-3 interception days. Bryce Young, he's been as good as advertised, very accurate. His anticipation and ball placement has been on full display. That's something that a lot of Panthers fans who've been in attendance at training camp have been talking about. That's been standing out when it comes to watching Bryce Young practice. And today, at the time I'm recording this, it's the first day that all these guys that we're talking about just practice with pads on. So Bryce Young's been doing this without pads on, but it's not like the quarterbacks get hit anyway. For all you guys are like, oh, everybody looks good in shorts and tank tops and non-practice, the quarterback never gets hit anyway. So Bryce Young has looked really good. Yeah, he's had a couple of mistakes here and there, but he's been better than CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson by a landslide. And compared to those other quarterbacks, he's already earned the starting job already. Right before training camp even officially started, Frank Wright already named him the starting QB, and then it came out officially. So Bryce Young, the fact that he already has earned the starting quarterback job, beating out Andy Dalton compared to CJ Stroud, who's competing with Davis Mills, tells you everything you need to know about Bryce Young and where he is in terms of him and his rookie development. He's already the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, QB1 officially, and training camp has just gotten underway. So his accuracy, decision-making has been pretty good, despite the couple of turnovers that he's given up here and there. Nothing major. CJ Stroud, on the other hand, I've been a little bit disappointed with what I've been hearing about CJ Stroud coming out. Now, he's had some really nice moments, but outside of his nice throws to Tank Dell and Noah Brown, he's kind of struggled. Now, the good thing is that if you're a Houston Texans fan, he still has been better than the other quarterbacks on your roster, Case Keenum and Davis Mills. And CJ Stroud, if you probably were to ask their head coach, DeMeco Ryans, who currently is ahead in the quarterback battle, he probably, if he was being honest, would tell you CJ Stroud. But CJ Stroud hasn't really been as good compared to Bryce Young so far up to this point in training camp. And Bryce Young went #1 overall for a reason, and we expected Bryce Young to be as good as what he has been so far. But CJ Stroud, we knew that it may have taken him a little bit to kind of get us comfortable as Bryce Young, because something that Bryce Young does incredibly well that CJ doesn't is being able to stay calm and being able to stay poised. And CJ Stroud, throughout training camp for the Texans so far, he struggled with pressure in his face, which was a big knock that many scouts had on him when he was coming out of Ohio State. Now, he has been pretty accurate with the football, but his decision making has been really rough to start out. But that's what you expect from a rookie quarterback. It's just that, I kind of thought that CJ Stroud would be a little bit more ready to go. I didn't think that the turnover bug would kind of get him a little bit early. I kind of thought he would be as good as what Bryce Young gets to start out. I thought that he kind of would hit the ground running similar to Bryce, but it kind of has been a little bit of a struggle. But it hasn't been struggles that's been so bad that he hasn't really separated himself from Davis Mills. If the Texans were to start week 1 of the NFL season today, they would be throwing CJ Stroud out there. He's been better than Davis Mills. So although he struggled, most of the Houston Texans quarterbacks have struggled up to this point in training camp. And the offense, you've seen these receivers look really good on social media, but I'm really interested for the people who've been in attendance of the Houston Texans training camp sessions. Are these receivers getting consistent separation? Like, are these quarterbacks just overthrowing these wide receivers, making these receivers look bad, or these wide receivers struggling to make these quarterbacks look good? I'm eager to see what the full situation is down there in Houston. But CJ Stroud has struggled, but I expect him to improve as we progress throughout training camp and the preseason. I think one thing that stands out about CJ Stroud the most is his ball placement and accuracy, and that's something that's been praised the most about him so far throughout training camp and OTAs and minicamp, is how well he's able to put the ball on these wide receivers right in their hands, and how he's able to put the ball in great places where the defenders can't make a play on it. But he also has had a couple of throws that made you go, damn, why would you throw that? And then Derek Stingley earlier today had a pick 6 on CJ Stroud. So it's kind of been more of an up and down rookie camp so far for CJ Stroud. Anthony Richardson, when it comes to AR, he hasn't thrown the football as much as Bryce Young and CJ Stroud have. He also just got surgery on his nose, so he missed Monday's training camp session for Indianapolis, but he is expected to return within the next couple of days. The latest he's expected to miss is Thursday's training camp session, so he should be back in action pretty shortly. And even though he hasn't thrown a lot, there's been a lot of reports about Anthony Richardson where he kind of has been what you've expected, but a little bit better than what you expected. His accuracy has been hit or miss at times, but it hasn't been as bad as what initially people thought when he was coming out of Florida. Now, his footwork is improving. His decision making is improving. All that is a work in progress. All those things have been mentioned when it comes to how he's performed so far in training camp for Indy. He's had a lot of highlight reel moments, i.e. the 50-50 or the 50-55 yard touchdown bomb to Alex Pierce that everybody was going crazy over on social media. But he also had a couple of throws that have gotten away from him, and a couple of decisions that he probably wished he could have had back. Like, there was a zone read play where he gave the ball away to the running back where he probably should have kept it. So with Anthony Richardson, you're still seeing the Anthony Richardson growing pains. You're seeing all of the issues that scouts had with him, but you also see a lot of the things that made Indianapolis fall in love with Anthony Richardson 4th overall. So he's just one of those players that is going to get better with time, repetition. He is competing with Gardner Minshew for the starting quarterback job, and right now him and Gardner Minshew are alternating first team reps. So one day Anthony Richardson will get the majority of the first team reps. The next day, Gardner Minshew will get the majority of the first team reps. So they're just alternating day by day. So when Anthony Richardson returns to practice from this nose surgery that he received, he will get the majority of the first team reps that practice. Now, overall, Bryce Young being the best performing rookie quarterback doesn't really surprise me. This is kind of what we expected out of Bryce Young. He was better than CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson, in my opinion, because of his ability to understand the game of football. How fast he's able to understand the playbook, understand protections, understand what defenses are trying to throw at him is why he has impressed so many people so far amongst the Carolina Panthers fan base. Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, those guys kind of having some growing pains, being up and down so far throughout training camp. You kind of expected that, even though I didn't expect it as much from CJ Stroud as I did Anthony Richardson. I didn't think that CJ Stroud would start this slow out the gate. And I think the Houston Texans having a defensive-minded coach may be the reason for that, because Frank Wright is an offensive-minded coach. And Bryce Young has already mastered the playbook pretty much. He's earned the respect of his teammates. And he already has become the starting QB of Carolina fairly quickly. So Frank Wright say, why waste the time? Why waste the meaningful reps? If Bryce Young is our guy, then we need to go ahead and make sure he's getting all of the first team reps necessary so he can build better timing with his receivers and teammates around him.